Hey, good afternoon, John Donovan.
Hey, Marty, Keller, and Daniel Gutierrez.
Our special guest, Daniel Gutierrez. Welcome,
Gutierrez.
gentlemen.
Glad
Welcome
to be
to
here. Thank you.
welcome to the Intentional Living podcast. A note to our listeners: we decided for reasons we're not going to go into that the podcast is now going to be every other week, and so we skipped last week and we'll skip next week, but we'll be doing this at least twice a month as we go forward. And also, I just noticed that we have 98 subscribers, so two more will put us over the top. So please hit that subscribe button on the lower
And then,
right-hand side of your screen and become
and
part of the community.
yeah, and send it to friends and ask them to do it, even though they don't know what they're doing, and hit that subscribe button. Maybe they'll listen and find something out. Anyway,
Yeah, it's like people that come to our meetings and we ask them, what do you know about the process? And I don't know. Some friend of mine just told me I need to come to this, so
right.
take the risk.
Yeah. Well,
All right. Well, we have John still down in Oceanside. Dan and I are here in Sacramento, California. So we're still going through our beautiful summertime, which means down in San Diego County, it's probably what, 70 degrees?
no, it's 81
Oh my gosh, it's a heat wave
heat wave
down there. Well, we're in the 90s and we're enjoying it. So we had a conversation before we got started. Dan has some interesting thoughts about the accountability practice and the law of attraction. And so, Dan, what have you been thinking? What's on your mind about that?
Well, first, I'd like to check in with myself here. I'm feeling nervous, a little shaky, a little fearful, and I just want to acknowledge that to myself. And my intention is to speak with authenticity, confidence, and wisdom. So thanks. I've been, I don't know, my latest focus has been just getting a lot more general knowledge. And one of the things I've come across is the law of attraction. It's not something new. I came across this a long time ago with The Secret, and I was watching some videos, and I noticed the correlation between the accountability practice and the law of attraction. They're how would you say? They're similar. They use the same principles, and but what the accountability does is that the law of attraction is what to do with the information that you have. So I want to start off with the law of attraction. Vibrations. We talk about vibrations. Vibrations attract the other states of being of similar frequency. Our circumstances reflect our states of being. So in other words, what I see out here is a direct reflection of me. What's in the outside world is a direct reflection of me. So based on that, that's what I'm attracting. My state of vibration up to today, whatever's shown up in my life has been because of the vibrations that I've put out in the past. So if I want to create something new, I have to change my vibrational state. So in other words, what is it that I want? What is it that I desire? And I and I think and feel those states, and I leave the other states alone. Say the world's a fucked up place. I'm driving. I have these negative energies that are coming in, and I'm attracting them. The awareness is that what I have in my life, I've attracted into my life, positive and negative. So the law of attraction states is literally a law of reflection. What I reflect out, the universe reflects back to me my state, which tells me what I'm attracting. Same thing with the accountability practice is if we go with the current reality, and if we look at that as our current state, the universe is reflecting that state back to me. And if I have the awareness that that's what's happening, then I move on to the emotion. The emotion is we go from current reality, we state it, we feel that energy, which those two correlate, current reality and the feeling, which tells me that that's what I've been drawing into my life. That vibrational energy, my emotional energy tells me that that's what I've been drawing into my life if I have that awareness, that that's what's happening. When I become accountable, we use the word accountable, then I understand where I'm at. The universe is reflecting my circumstances back at me. And then this is what the accountability practice does. Then I go, oh, I become aware of what I'm attracting. And now then the question comes up, what is it that I want to attract? And then I intend to be peaceful, joyful, and abundant. And in the process of me creating that intention, I'm radiating out from myself into the universe those frequencies that I want to attract. I'm telling the universe, show me or bring to me these things.
Can you give an example, like a personal example?
It happened yesterday. I'm doing a group with some women, a women's accountability group, and I've never met these ladies, and we start the group, and all these women, they all start opening up with some deep, serious, emotional content. I'm the only man in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not thinking anything of it. And, I'm thinking, well, this is normal for me. This happens to me all the time. So after the meeting, I talked to one of the facilitator, and she goes, and I go, wow, I'm really amazed, that these women open up to me. And she looked at me really funny, and she goes, well, you project this energy into the room. You attract this, Dan. And then I just sat back and I go, oh, holy crap. And then this information that I just shared starts kicking in. What's showing up in my life? Compassion, acceptance, connection, and wisdom. And I created that intent in the freaking cafeteria in the downtown jail. I used to write that out on 3 pieces of paper. I intend to create a world of acceptance, compassion, connection, and wisdom. It was like I was being punished. I talked in class and I had to write it 100 times.
Yeah.
And so then I'm sit there and I go, holy shit. And then it starts clicking. I'm attracting this stuff into my life, and this is a really good example.
Yes. How long ago was that where you were writing that?
That was 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah. And
I've been saying it consistently and persistently
There you
all
go.
the time.
Oh my God.
So my awareness between the law of attraction and accountability, they're both feedback processes. My current reality, I feel it, I state it, I feel it, I acknowledge it, I validate my current state, and then I ask for what I want. I create the intent, send it out to the universe, and then I just move along, pay attention, see what's different, what did I learn about myself, and based on what I'm seeing reflected back to me, what am I seeing on my, here's the good part. Whatever I'm seeing out there in the world is me.
Yep.
And based on having that awareness, I know what's going on inside of me. If I'm projecting out, this guy's an idiot, and I have energy around that, that's work for me. That's the stuff I get to work on. Or if I can say, oh, that guy's an idiot, and then it's like, okay, well, on your projection stand, okay, I'm an idiot. And nothing happens, then I've healed that part of me. But if I've got energy resistance, or I'm in denial, or I'm trying to blame it on anything, then there's work for me to heal that part of me.
Correct.
And that's the feedback. The universe will reflect back to me my present state of consciousness. And if
Every time, all the time, forever and a day.
And the cool part is, if I know what I want, then this is valuable information.
Yes.
Like you say, if you want to come to a greater understanding as yourself as a human being, this information is priceless. If I want to be learn how to be in a long-term, nurturing, loving relationship, this information is freaking dynamite.
Yep. Yeah. Yes, it is.
And anything, if it evolves, so here I am. I spin it up all the way to the top. If I'm a human being on planet Earth, I am programmed to be in a social situation in connection with other human beings. I cannot avoid this. I seek attachment and I seek love. Well, Jesus Christ, this stuff is freaking insane information. Now I know how to go about doing that.
Right. Fantastic, Daniel. Let me give you my version of what I heard you say, or the best way I can do it, because when we have two points of view, it helps. When before I learned this information, or this accountability process, where I owned what I was projecting out, and I projected out idiot, asshole, somebody who doesn't care, people that take advantage of, and that was what I was doing. So that person is a manipulator. Okay, so I own that projection. I'm a manipulator, and I just said the words, and then the trauma, family of origin dysfunction, childhood trauma, that instigated that it would be a good idea for me to manipulate people, because that's how I stayed safe in my childhood. That I'm a manipulator is in alignment with the trauma. We said it I said it, we say it in a place of no blame or judgment. And I actually validate where this manipulator, this capacity to manipulate came from, which is family of origin dysfunction, childhood trauma. It's in alignment with the family of origin. Where I'm at in the present moment, it creates separation, isolation, and pain, destruction. That was the word I was looking for, destruction. It is not out of alignment with what happened to me as a child. And when I say the truth, I'm a manipulator, it somehow, some way validates the energy that it was coming from, the frequency that it was coming from, because that frequency is looking out for my best interest. And I simply validate it, and then I say, it is my intent to be gracious, or it is my intent to be compassionate, or is my intent to forgive myself. And that intent fuses with the trauma that created the manipulation, the need to manipulate to stay safe, although in pain, reframed it, set it back down into my subconscious. And now I attract this whatever this frequency is, this healed trauma, this intent to be gracious comes in, and it simply manifests out of that point of attraction, which is now my base vibration. And I start seeing things differently. One of the ways I explain this is I used to walk into a group of men and figure out which ones I could kick their ass and which ones I couldn't. I didn't think I could kick their ass. And then I'd make friends with the ones I didn't think I could kick their ass because I wanted to be on the winning side. That was my frame of reference. Everybody's out to get you, get on the winning team. Okay, now I walk into a group of men and I see pain. I see sincerity. I see seekers. I see pain. I already said that, but I see wounded people. I see differently through this frequency, through this lens that I've created. One of the things that we say, there is nothing wrong. Whatever I see in the present moment is always in alignment with my base frequency. Childhood, family of origin dysfunction, childhood trauma. So if I see mistrust or people that would take advantage, that's in alignment. That's not wrong. It does hurt. It does cause separation. It does cause destruction. Yes, it is not wrong. It is not out of alignment with where I'm vibrating at. And if I own that, I'm what I see out there. Breathe. It validates that trauma, heals that trauma, and I say it is my intent to be compassionate. Goes back down into my subconscious, and then I find myself in a place where people come up to me and say, you know, I feel safe around you. I see the kindness in your eyes. And it's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna walk in this room and shine kindness out of my eyes. But that's my frequency. That's where I'm at. And it simply is mirrored back to me.
Yep.
Fantastic, Daniel. Fantastic stuff. Yes.
Yeah, I think the law of attraction principle supports the accountability process.
Yes.
Not well, for me, I'm sitting there. I'm familiar with the accountability process, and I'm watching these videos, and I'm going, oh, wait a minute, this just sounds very similar here. And then it's just like, yeah, it is similar. And like I said, the part that what I'm not seeing is, you know, it's awareness that's generated, but there's nothing done with that awareness.
Correct.
You know, there's no mechanism, which would be in the accountability process, is create the intention for what you want to manifest in your life.
After looking at the truth of the reality, where you find
Right.
one of the heartburns I had with the secret in that law of attraction is some feelings are negative, some feelings are positive. Don't feel anger because that draws anger. And what they
Yeah, that's true in a sense.
Yeah.
If you just were to make a list of the emotions and then give them a frequency rating, right?
Yep.
And then
Mhm.
and use the frequency rating on rather than the narrative or the descriptor, the word. Okay, if this is your anger, you're going to be you know, resonating at this frequency, so you're going to be drawing this towards you.
Correct.
Right? Not good or bad.
Right. Not good. Yeah, it is what it is.
And if this is what's showing up for me on a persistent basis, I'm attracting it into my life.
Yes.
And the awareness is I'm empowered to create the life that I want based with this knowledge. But yeah, I do have to the accountability part is I do own my current reality. I don't just go, oh shit, I'm attracting anger,
Correct.
you know, and then switch over to I want love.
Right, right. Without dealing with the frequency of whatever that anger is. And I'd like to just, like Marty, Dan and I are talking, and I know when I talk that I miss aspects of what could be said, and I'm doing the best I can. And I know Daniel's doing the same here. So if you could see, maybe add something to what we're saying that I'm missing, or
Yeah, I know it's kind of hard to get a word in edgewise with such brilliant, insightful people. So thank you. Well, there's a couple things that showed up for me that I wanted to throw into the commentary. One was going back to what you said, Dan, or what I heard you say about how the externalities reveal the internalities. And that comment that the woman facilitator made to you yesterday, that's one of the, just point out that that's one of the areas that I could work on a lot more intentionally. It's like you manifested surprise that she told you that that's what you were generating, and yet the law of attraction that you just commented on, that should be obvious to us, that if we're walking into a room and people are attracted to us, then there's something inside of us that is doing that attraction. And if we're not aware of it, that's another place that we can do some work. So I just want to point out that this process helps us in both those things that we struggle with, family of origin dysfunction, childhood trauma, how that manifests, but also what the family of origin trauma hides from us, which is our genius, our creative energy, our particular mastery, that we're liberating ourselves in order to, I'm liberating myself from the childhood dysfunction in order to shine forth that which I'm really here to do at the deepest level of my heart. So that was one thing that that I noticed, or I just wanted to share, that oftentimes I laugh at myself when I get surprised that someone says, you're so kind and you're so compassionate and I feel so safe around you. And it's like, I tend not to be surprised about that. I intend to appreciate that's the law of attraction at work, to use the topic here. So I think that's one thing that I notice, that I think it was last time you were on here, Dan, you or John talked about I'm a gift.
Absolutely.
And so I intend to experience that as true, because the family of origin dysfunction, childhood trauma, denies that,
yes,
runs from it, not because the little kid doesn't want to manifest that, but because it's dangerous to manifest that in my family of origin. Exuberance, independence, unwillingness to follow the rules are all dangerous behaviors in my family. And so, what I experienced was I had to escape into fantasy and live in a fantasy world where I was safe and sound, that nobody else could come into. So now here it is. I have the same experience that you reported through the the intention I created. I intend to create a world of joy, peace, freedom, and community. And that's my general experience through this exact same process that you shared. The second point I wanted to offer along the same lines is, one of our principles is we're always getting what we want, which is just a version of the law of attraction. And again, the challenge is to develop that discipline that you were talking about, Dan, to develop the discipline to be willing to notice those things that are uncomfortable, painful, separation causing in my life, as John said, without blame or judgment, in order to take a look at that and decide, what do I really want here? So that's the without blame or judgment element. Again, I've said this on the podcast many times. That was perhaps the single thing that you shared with us, John, back in the men's group days, that changed my life without blame or judgment. And I've struggled with that for a long time because I find myself judging my judging.
Yep.
And so I've learned to, like, okay, I'm not going to judge my judging. And that may sound counterfactual to someone who's listening to this for the first time, because it sounds like a contradiction in terms. But the truth is, as a human being, I am always going to be an amalgam of different emotional states, different thoughts, and some of them are going to be unpleasant, and some of them are going to hurt myself or hurt people. And when you said there's nothing wrong, John, I continue to develop the capacity to live in that truth, because I still have this great tendency to criticize, judge, make bad, which is a separation creation. And
Right.
that's all it is. And again, it's a little kid who has come a long way in this process. He is a lot more relaxed and a lot more trusting than he was 10 years ago, but it's still there.
See,
That
yes.
energy is still there.
Wow, good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's I know for me, it's just a refinement. You know, having this awareness about what's going on, and not seeing myself as the problem, but
Right.
being able to just go, you know, man, I've got all the tools. Everything I need is in me already.
Yeah.
I just needed some information how to put it together, or what's going on here. And it's like, wow, this is, you know, this is not well, I don't want to say rocket science. This is doable.
Yes, I go ahead.
You don't need you know, a PhD in psychology to make this happen.
In fact, that probably isn't going to help you.
It may or may not, but the only thing you really need is to okay. The thing that helped me the most is to be able to view myself with love and acceptance.
Yep.
And once I got to that part where I started to see myself as, you know, being whole, perfect, and complete, and love myself no matter what mental stuff I had going on, mental conditioning, family of origin dysfunction, belief system going on, and just see it as me being me. I am a information generating human being. I've got sensors that my body reveals to me. My thoughts happen. My mind is supposed to generate all these thoughts, and I'm not my behavior. I'm not my thoughts. I am the consciousness that has the ability to see it. And when I realized I am not these things, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not my behaviors, I quit taking it personal.
Yes.
It wasn't that I didn't have to defend against anything anymore.
Right. Just own it.
Just own it and see it as information. Now I have all this information, long, short list. How does that support what I want? If I know what I want, then this information supports it. Then it has value. It's useful. Owning the fact that, you know, I see people as wannabes.
Right. Oh my God.
Ooh, it's like, holy shit. What's that projection is keeping me from being in contact with a whole shitload of fucking people.
Right.
And
you're holding wannabe on yourself.
Yeah, and I'm separating from myself.
Yes.
it creates separation from myself. I have to become who I am is not good enough. I have to become a not wannabe. I have to be a person of substance. I have to be righteous. I have to
perfect.
I have to be perfect.
This is reminded me of a saying I haven't said in a long time, but this is the saying: all action seeks life, not all actions find life. Every action that came from me, including my meanness to the point of cruelty, my manipulation, my controlling behavior, my violent behavior, was that part of my wounded self seeking survival, seeking to stay alive. It was seeking life. What it found was separation, destruction, and pain. That mechanism, when I blamed it or when I judged myself, that mechanism just clamped down harder on, I'm going to save your life, and this is what I'm going to do it. And it was in that subconscious shadow part of me that I didn't even know existed. And then the thing about the accountability process, intentional living, is that instead of fighting that, denying that, I simply bring it out into the light. Character defect based on childhood wounding, and the defect is in alignment with the wounding, mean to the point of cruelty. Of course I'm mean to the point of cruelty. That's how this mechanism has decided it's going to keep me alive, is keep me away from other people, because other people hurt and cause destruction. So when I owned I'm mean to the point of cruelty, it validated the information, albeit misinformation, about my survival. And it was raised the frequency, was a validation of the pain. And then I said, it is my intent to be kind. It fused with that intensity, reframed, and set it back down into my subconscious with this new directive that didn't dismiss the pain, the shadow. It owned the shadow. And this is where we get into the integral philosophy. What's his name? Marty?
Ken Wilber.
Ken Wilber's things is that all developmental stage get incorporated into the new, not dismissed from the new. So I'm incorporating my total experience, all the pain, reframed. It is now the foundation of my capacity to be compassionate. And without that foundation, the compassionate, I want to say, is different. It's not wrong or bad. It doesn't have that unique experiential frequency that I now bring as my gift to my community. And oh wow, wow.
Yeah, it's the integration. It's the manifestation of whole, perfect, and complete. Because I don't exile, or I don't. There are no bad parts of me. There's nothing that needs to be gotten rid of. All this stuff needs to be welcomed in. The invitation exists to I want this part of me to be integrated and brought back in and seen as a valuable contributing partner in me.
Yes. Wow, well said.
And I would suggest that that's a manifestation of an intention to fall in love with myself. When I fall in love with myself, I fall in love with my complete self, and not just those aspects that I say are desirable. I'm going to fall in love with the undesirable aspects as well.
Yeah, I know it's hard to communicate without using those terms.
Yeah.
And that's what I found too, is that the language changes.
Yes.
There is nothing wrong. There's just wounded parts of me that need to be healed,
Yes.
and they manifest in my projections. Yeah, yeah. Another thing I found out too was this owning the projections. I was doing a class, and I had this gentleman own his projection, and so he did, and goes, "Well, I'm not those things," and it's like, okay, and he sat there for about 3 or 4, 5, 6 seconds, and then he started crying, and then later that day I was watching something or doing something, and I did something, and that guy's really, something's wrong with him. And then I was like, okay, well, is there something wrong with you? Really, there's something wrong with you? And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of shit that I'm not. It's not wrong. I'm working on it. And it's like, and that guy is doing what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't mean that there's any. Yeah, I can own the fact that I'm an idiot, and if I don't have energy around it, then my awareness is that part of my maybe my shadow self has been healed. But if I'm over
Mhm.
here trying to defend, "Oh, I'm not a fucking idiot," then yes, there's parts of me that need to be healed. But yeah, it's what my body or my emotional state or my feelings say when I say that, are you willing to be owned that you're an idiot? Yes, I'm an idiot. And if I sit there and there's no uh, activation going on, my interpretation is uh, I've healed a huge part of that.
Right. If there's no resistance to the statement. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's another tool. I mean,
Yes.
it's just, I mean, the tool that, I'm gonna have to get rid of my tool belt. I need a tool chest.
A tool shed.
Yeah.
So,
I want to raise something that you referred to a few way back toward the beginning of the conversation, Dan, when you talked about the social aspect of our lives, the social characteristic of being a human. And I want to just note that the acquisition of this information has incredible value, and the capacity to work through it in a group has equally, for me, has had an equally incredible value. The capacity to own my projections, even if it were just the three of us here, the capacity to own my projections and have that witnessed and have acceptance and valuing coming back at me, even as my body may be shuddering and crying and going through that shedding experience, has a healing value that I still, having done this for years, I still probably undervalue, or maybe I'm not undervaluing it, but I don't know the words. Like you said earlier, sometimes the language starts to become inadequate. It used to be that oftentimes when I'd come to a meeting, I'd have resistance to it. I'd get to the room or I'd go to turn on the Zoom, and I'd have this thing, I don't really want to go to this thing. But I hardly have that anymore. I have the opposite experience. Like, I can't wait. Oh, it's 6:20. All right, it's time for the meeting, and get ready to come. And that's
yeah.
a major shift, because I've learned something ineffable about the social um, aspect of this work. There's power in the group, and I couldn't do it without him.
Well, what I heard you say is that that could happen in a group. Yeah, I agree. Um, and it starts with me not judging myself, so I can put myself in a position where I feel comfortable going to a place where that transpires. And it's like, and yes, we're we're the only, this is, I think, I don't know where I got this. We're the only creatures on the planet that are born with a need to attach. We have to attach or we won't survive. And through our entire lives, we learn how to, we're born attached. We're born literally attached to our mother. We're born attached. And then we get separated. And then we have to learn to reattach now outside the womb. And then when after we manage to go through that process up until, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, then we learn to attach to ourselves, figure out who we are. And then we learn to, and then we're brought up in a social environment where we attach to other people. We join clubs, we join organizations, we root for the football team. We seek partners, we attach to them. And we attach to a higher power. It's not about doing any of this alone.
Right.
It's and it helps when you learn to understand that my job is to not my job. My choice of what I want to do is to come to an understanding of who I am as a human being. And that supports me being able to connect to other human beings and be in connection with them.
Yeah.
Well, I think that part of the learning curve here is to create attachment to myself.
Yeah.
That I spent all of my earliest years and the subsequent compulsions that were created there being detached from myself. And
Absolutely.
in the in the mechanism of projection, of course, I'm going to project attachment out to the world. And one of the joys that has occurred to me in the past few years is noting all the ways I've created detachment from people, noticing the subtle ways, that the obvious ways are, sarcasm and those kinds of things. But I've been on a journey to find the subtle ways that I learned to do it. Because it's like you were saying earlier, John, it's like that little kid is determined to keep me safe.
Yes.
Like he has no choice. This is not a choice question. Survival is not a choice. And so this has been going on for years and years and years. And of course, every time I do it, I just deepen it. I reinforce its groove in my subconscious. So as we shift now to a love, I'm learning to be attached to myself. That again may be just another version of I intend to fall in love with myself. From the perspective of the way we're using attachment here, which is a developmental stabilizer, emotional stabilizer that we learn as infants and little children, and that our attachment experience becomes what we create as our love equals.
Exactly.
Well, not only that, is that we have to learn how to attach so we can detach.
Right.
Somebody has to show us a safe way to what safety looks like, so we can theoretically. Okay, I don't know. For me, the leap is, if I'm not taught how to attach to myself, or how to attach, my mother or caregivers don't know how to teach me how to attach. I don't learn how to attach to myself. So I develop these codependency things so I can maintain or create attachment, which is attachment with consequences.
Yeah.
Right. There's the attachments, the healthy attachment is with caring, loving caregivers. The unhealthy attachment styles are like avoidant attachment or disoriented attachment. And I think there's one more. and in those styles of attachment where mine was avoidant attached, to where I would have to be around her mom, and yet she's the one that inflicted the pain. So I'd always want to separate, but I had to like stay attached, and I'd go back and forth. And that manifested in my relationships with the people it's like I
Absolutely.
get close, I move away, I get close, and then you're looking at me like, "What are you doing?" And it's like I don't know. I have no idea I'm doing it. And yet, when I started this work and owning my character defects, this started coming together so that I could feel safe at being vulnerable. Just being vulnerable, feel safe. I have these hits before meetings where, what if, and all these doubts. And I can now just simply take a breath and I'll deal with it. I know how to deal with it. It'll be okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be safe. So yeah, wow. Good stuff, guys. Wow.
Yeah, that's it's like, I'm glad I have the awareness to see things like this, or not. Yeah, I'm glad. That's the gift that I have, is the ability to do this.
Yes, you do. Yes, sir, you do.
Yeah, that's the gift that I bring to the world.
And do this, you mean one of the things is open for feedback, and becoming willing to own whatever action you did that caused separation and or destruction, and simply own it without blame or judgment. Mine would be controlling or manipulative, or dismissive. I just dismissed you. Own it, know that it's not me, that it's coming from this little child's need to survive, validating that little child instead of scolding him again by like,
Right.
no, I shouldn't do that. I should be better. I should know. And going, yes, I did that. Separating myself from my behaviors and then attaching to that part of me that is seeking kindness and love and unconditional acceptance. And oh my God.
So I was telling my girlfriend the story about my relationship with my mother. And I was saying, yeah, my mother didn't have a sense of humor. You couldn't make her, you couldn't tease her, because she woo, man, that was like an assault on Fortress Margaret, and all assaults on Fortress Margaret had to be put down. So as I got older, and so I'd sit there and I'd dig at her, dig at her, dig at her, dig at her, and I'd make faces at her and get her all wound up. And then she'd run in the kitchen to get a knife and chase me around the house. And I'd run to the bathroom and lock myself in, laughing so hard. And so I'm telling the story, and I'm thinking nothing of it. And then she goes, that's not normal. and then it's like, oh, wow. That isn't normal.
No. See, this mechanism, this normalizes behavior that is either deviant or destructive or coercive. It's not everybody does it. Why are you saying that? Everybody does this? Well, maybe they do, and it's not normal being healthy. It's not healthy, right?
And it's like, what was I doing? And and I realized is that I'm doing emotional violence to my mother.
Right.
Subconsciously, I'm giving her payback.
Right. Exactly.
And it's like, shit, not shit, but it's like, I'm emotionally and verbally violent.
Yes.
What do I want? I intend to create a world of peace, joy, and connection.
There you go.
So yeah, let's focus on that.
Well, the irony is that according to the law of attraction, you're doing emotional violence to yourself when you're doing emotional violence to your mom. Your mom is the stand-in for the anger that you have. I'll just I'll just make it first person. The anger that I had toward my parents,
Right.
you know, I would basically put my mother down, say she didn't mean anything. She was such a victim and blah blah. Whatever the indictment was that I had of my mom was my indictment of me.
Yes.
And mom was just the very close mirror that made it that much more clear if I was willing to look at it, which I wasn't for decades
Right.
until I learned to do this work.
Yep. And then, yeah, then it's like my perception on the world is the world is my oyster. Everything I need is out there waiting for me to have the awareness of the value in it.
Yes.
My perception on my circumstances, everything is about me. That's what the little kids version is.
Yep.
You know, the world. These people are yelling at me because there's something wrong with me, and then you develop. You know, you know, over and over and over again. And but it's just the perception of what happened. I'm learning is that I've been living from a perception of a child.
Yes.
And what I'm doing now is I'm updating all the old files, all the old programs, and I'm bringing them into 2022 reality, Dan Gutierrez, human being, planet Earth, right now.
Yep.
And it's like, that's all I'm doing.
Yep.
But and then along the way, there were no updates.
No. They were the opposite of updates. We just kept updating the old program.
Well, downloading programs that support the original programming.
Right.
And back to the awareness is I couldn't have gotten to this point if my challenges, my opportunities for growth were given to me I'm going to say unique to me based on my life experience. And that's a different perception. Yeah, it's a different perception than, God, I've been fucked all this whole time. You know, I've had love confused with I've got attachment disorders. Yeah. Well, that's great. Now I know.
Yep.
Versus, God damn them.
Yeah.
You know, Dan, you put me in mind of one of the things that you taught me. One of your great lines. I think it was you. I'm gonna maybe John, you said this, but I think Dan, you said this about when certain people trigger us. You said that person is here to teach me something only that person could teach me. And as you were just talking, it just occurred to me that that's true of ourselves. I'm here to learn something only I can teach me. And that, again, brings us back to I intend to fall in love with myself, because there's a lot of, and also your intention to live a life that includes wisdom. There's a lot of wisdom within us that I'm learning to open myself to, and to, listen to with discernment. Like, wow, that's really cool.
When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yeah. Exactly.
Good stuff, guys.
Whew.
So we have a few more minutes here. Maybe there's a wrap up that we could begin. We started, Dan, you started what you've been having some insights into the relationship between the law of attraction and accountability practice. Is there something we didn't say yet about that?
Well, I don't know. For me, it's just the awareness that I'm always getting what I want. So what I have in my life, I'm attracting. And what I see out in the world is just a reflection of what's going on inside of me. And knowing that I have those two tools and the accountability practice here, I have, what do they call it? In aviation, when you activate the controls, they call it authority. When you change the rudder from one position to the other, one side to the other, you have the authority that the rudder moves the airplane. So I have the authority and the power and the ability to create the life that I want with those simple tools. Yeah, yeah, simple tools. And it's only taken me a long time to put it together, but yeah, love and approval, that's where it starts for me. Compassion is Sherry Huber. I got that from her too. Unconditional compassion, no matter what. That's not the default mode that we have. So that's my piece.
Well, as always, appreciate you coming on and sharing your new insights, which you always have, and I'm very grateful to you for that. And John, as always, how about the last word?
I'm really glad we got into this conversation about the law of attraction and this work, accountability, tree work, intentional living. And if people are interested, I have a webpage, donovancounseling.com, and you can go to my homepage, scroll down. I think it's the second to last page has a place where you can download the intentional living material, and another manual I created, which is violence cessation. And what I wanted to say is this is, for me, I don't believe I have the answer. I have a answer. And that answer is, it's like Norman Vincent Peale, I think in 1955, wrote The Power of Positive Thinking. And that's been around for, 70-something years. If that worked, if all we had to do was affirm, think positive, we'd all be in a different world today. And what I've learned is affirmations are good. I'm not downing affirmations. If somebody's doing affirmations, please continue, because there's power in those. For me, when I did the affirmation, I am one of the ones I struggled really hard with is I am lovable. I would say I am lovable. And then inside this dark place in me, I was screaming, who the hell you think you're talking to? No, you did this, this, and this, and this. And that's what the accountability tree process, it goes down into that wounded little place of mine, that wounded little boy, and says, yeah, I'm hearing you. I want you to know I'm hearing you, that you're upset, that you're frustrated, that you're doing the best you can. And then bringing that little boy back with me, bringing him out of the shadows and with me, and creating safety for both of us. And owning that part of myself that I wanted to dismiss and yet was in me. And so now it's the affirmation, the I intend to be gracious, comes after the validation of the pain. I am mean to the point of cruelty. That is painful. And I say that without blame or judgment. I feel the impact that had on me and everybody around me. And in that feeling tone, it is my intent to be kind and gracious. And that's where the transformation, the hermetic chamber, the lead into gold happens. And that's in the shadow. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, John. And I just want to bring this to a close by pointing out to anybody who's listening that there are at least 5 accountability practice meetings on Zoom, all on Zoom, that you can participate in and learn more about this in a practical way, by experiencing it or observing others experience what John just said about feeling the truth of particularly our negative judgments of ourselves, and then learning to create a new intention, a new experience based on honoring that older truth, that frightened, scared little boy or girl who just wants to have fun in life and enjoy life.
Yeah.
So information on how to learn about the Zoom room addresses is available by emailing me or John, and our email information is going to be at the end of the podcast. So we welcome you. You can come and just listen, or you can come and jump in the deep end and participate. It's entirely up to you. So, Dan, I thank you again for being part of the podcast,
You're welcome.
and
Thank you, Dan.
look forward to the next time. John, I thank you as always for being the guy that taught me this stuff. Couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you.
John.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
You got it.
Take care.
Bye-bye.